Hi everybody, this is Laura with Lonely Pines Farm. I'm just about to go out and water all of our brand new fruit and nut trees, so I thought I'd fire up the camera and bring you guys along. If you follow us on social media, then you've probably already seen a little bit about the trees. If you haven't already, be sure to find us on all of these platforms. Anyway, so the first step in the process was for us to narrow down the types of trees that we wanted to grow this year versus the short list for things that we're interested in growing, that we're still interested in growing, but not necessarily this year. Check out our talking trees video linked here if you're interested in kind of our decision-making process. Then we had to order them. Obviously, we always want to keep things as cheap as possible, but then you're getting sticks that are like this big, and it takes, 10 years for you to get fruit. So we ended up biting the bullet and spending about $500 on trees. But I think it's worth it now that they've arrived. They are much taller. Some of them are like 4 to 6 feet tall. So I'm hoping that we'll have fruit within a couple years. They're looking very healthy. They've already got like leaves and buds and things on them. They're originally supposed to be delivered, I don't know, on a Friday a couple weeks ago. And then in the last minute they bowed out and updated the shipping, and then they weren't going to be here till Monday, which was a huge pain because we had anticipated setting aside that whole weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and just boom, bang them out, get them planted. But then they didn't arrive Friday, and then they arrived Monday, and the boxes that they arrived in were just very deceptive. They were very skinny and long, and I was concerned and Jerry was also concerned. I texted him a picture, and we were both a little worried about what was going to be inside, if they were just going to be twigs or if they were actually going to have branches and things like that. But we ultimately got them home, gingerly unpacked them. We've been very careful. Jerry's been doing a lot of reading on fruit trees, and you can't like nick the trunk and the bark, and you have to be very careful with them. So we very cautiously unwrapped them. We were very pleased with how many branches there are on the trees. They're pretty well established. And then we had to work on getting them planted. With both of us having 9 to 5s, that was a little bit limiting. So every night, took us almost a full week, Monday through Sunday, Monday through Saturday to get them all planted. So we would come home from work, we'd throw on our sweats, run outside and plant, 2 to 4 trees before the sun went down, and we had 10 trees and 8 bushes in total to plant, so it took us a little bit of time. So I tell you what, last week we were exhausted. In fact, we're both feeling a little bit sick today, and I think it's because we worked ourselves to the bone. But we got them all planted. Saturday morning we finished them up, got the last few blueberries in the ground. So now I'm just gonna walk around and water them, and I thought I'd kind of talk a little bit about some of the things we took into consideration in terms of planting. Oh my gosh, I was so terrified when these trees showed up. The permanence of a fruit tree is a little bit much for me. Just being able to see, where do you want to live for the rest of your life? It's a little bit permanent. I mean, perennials in general I've always had trouble with. Fruit trees seemed even bigger to me. So I don't know. Jerry was calm as a cucumber throughout the whole thing, and he was very, very sweet and made me feel a lot better about the process. And ultimately, I think we came up with some pretty good places to plant them. So these are the peach trees. We ended up deciding to put them behind the house. There used to be a tree in its place here. I'm not quite sure what it was, but we ended up ripping the whole thing out. You can see the ground's kind of disturbed here. I was a little nervous because the grass is a little bit mossy, but we have been checking the sun as it comes over the sky in the morning, and there is a line right about here this time of year that the roof casts. So they are still getting sunshine. They may not get it in the depths of winter, but they are getting sunshine right now. Hi, buddy! So yeah, those are the peach trees hiding out there between our property and the neighbor's property. They are also going to help block, let's see here. They're going to help block part of our view, which is nice, give us a little privacy. We want to tear this thing out because it's huge and it's right next to the foundation, and our heater cooler unit is back in here, so we want to be able to give that some space to breathe and get this whole monstrosity torn out. So this will be a nice alternative. We'll get this and then maybe a few shade-loving plants along here to help block the highway view from the house. So we've got privacy from the dining room window and the kitchen window, which will be that tree. Then we've got our apple trees right here. We're working on trimming those back. Jerry cut down cut off quite a few branches this year. We can't trim too much in one year, so I think it's going to take a couple years to get them manicured and back into shape. But then, this is our mini fruit orchard. Woo-woo! The left are almond tree. Hiding back there, 2 almond trees. The right are pears, 3 pears. Let's get the water going here while I chit-chat. Leave it. He loves that water sprayer so much. Working on getting him to leave that alone. Anyway, so this bamboo, I'm not sure what the deal is with this. It was here when we moved in, but I absolutely hate bamboo. It doesn't seem as invasive as some of the other ones I've come across, but it's got to go. Now that we've got the new flame weeder, I think it's going to be a bit more of a breeze to get that bad boy out of here. And then we are going to cut down that holly tree. Well, we're thinking about cutting down the first 2. Ooh, backwards in a camera. We're going to cut down the first 2. Leave the third one. Leave that one. Just so we can open it up so that these guys have some more space to grow. And the third holly tree is not terribly healthy. It didn't really put out any berries. The first 2 did. And honestly, in terms of crafting and things like that, I want to learn how to use hollies in like seasonal wreaths and things. But I think 1 tree will probably do us. Check it out, we found a few surprise bundles now scattered amongst our fruit trees. So that was a very nice surprise. Having moved in June, these guys were already fully bloomed out. We had no idea they were here. There's actually another bundle of them over here in what will eventually be our apiary. So we've got our fruit trees here. We were very specific about not wanting to push this out another row because then it pushes all of our, we call them our toys, forward into the view, which the shed is blocking nicely right now, so we don't really want to stare at those from the kitchen. And we are eventually thinking about putting a deck on this side because it's the best view on the other side of the shed. So that'll be a nice visual blocker. We're going to have to figure out what to do with the shed because the shed is old and rotten. But we will have our fruit trees here, and then we're thinking about maybe the dandelions or the daffodils kind of inspired us to maybe put flowers through here under the fruit trees. And then eventually this corner is going to become our apiary. We're going to get bees maybe next year, possibly the year after. Pigs are kind of moving up the chain in terms of desirability a little bit more. But look, we got more hiding in the grass. Isn't that so lovely? I'm not sure that our flowers are going to flower this year because I got the bulbs in the ground very late. But yes, so this we'll make this more official. This is the neighbor's fence line. We'll make this more official, and then we'll put our beehives right here. So it'll be close to the house. We'll be able to block it a little bit from the wind and things like that. And they should have flowers from the fruit trees and then the rest of the flowers in the yard. I bet that 1 tree is done being watered. I have gotten sidetracked and I'm not taking care of my primary job. Yep. Also, we had read that moles like the roots of new fruit trees, and they aren't wrong about that. We've had a mole come up in underneath at least a couple of the fruits that we've planted, so hopefully the roots aren't too damaged. We would have loved to eventually get to a permaculture environment where we can work with the moles, but for now, I think we're kind of just working on getting rid of them, so don't be mad about that. Don't come at me. We just can't really deal with them right now, tearing up all of our valuable produce. So it is what it is, but it's true. What are you doing? Are you waiting for your toy? Waiting and watching. What is that, a baby bald eagle in that tree? I don't see anything. There's something flying and it looks like there's a little, let's see if I get my finger in frame right at the top of that tree there. Something making an interesting noise. He found a new toy to play with. Yes, that hole may be from him having dug the ground up this weekend. Look, we found a new toy. No, stop it. You are the worst. You're so wet. You don't say. Where's your ball? Huh? Where's your... Yeah, you're so wet. What are you doing? Oh. Tell you what, this is one decent day in amongst what's going to be a week full of rain, and I can feel it. It's cold, it's windy, it's yucky out here. Which, you know, I complain, and then I have no right to complain because Jerry posted a picture of the field that we finished on a gardening page and asking where everybody's at with their spring garden prep, and 90% of them were still under 2 feet of snow. So I didn't mean it, Mother Nature. I am thankful for the weather that we have right now. But woo! I need a hat. Alright, so now we are heading down off the driveway to water the hazelnuts. So far we have peach, pears, almonds, and hazelnuts. I'm really excited about the nuts in particular. I mean, hazelnuts I feel like are a little exotic for people to grow, and we're right in the middle of their zones that they grow in, so I think we should be fine. And there are a lot of people over on the San Juan Islands that have had great success with hazelnuts, so I'm optimistic. Gonna make Jerry eat all the homemade Nutella. Okay, so, whew. So these are the hazelnuts. We put them right off the driveway here. A little bit of curve to them. We are chopping and dashing trees that were here before. So we're going to be taking that tree down. It's just a maple. It's good leaves for compost, but it's not, other than that, you know, we want edible, valuable landscaping. I'm so glad we tied these up. I can see the little trees swaying in the wind here. So we're going to be taking that tree down, possibly more, but at least that one for now. And then, yeah, these will be our 3 hazelnut trees. Whoop, whoop. Check out how good our garlic's doing. Ridiculous number of heads. I'm really excited about this year. Let's see what we got here. We got a little bit of kale left. A few new lettuces, although they're looking a little sad. We did not know that our last frost date out here is a full month later than it was in Shoreline. So we're a little bit ahead of the curve. We've got our cold frame here. Got a little mail delivery. I think that may be some of our brooder supplies. So we're excited. We're gonna be getting chickens really soon. Stay tuned for a future video about that. Now we must make the trek down to the blueberries. Oh, let me get the hoses right here. Look at all this hose. This is just, can you see it all? I can't even tell if you can see it all. But just ridiculous amounts of hose to try and water the whole property. It's the downside of 2 acres. We got to look at, we're going to look at getting some water out in the yard, like it's going to take a little bit of focus here. Running a water line out there so we can have water near the gardens and not have to put together, actually, now that I think about it, I don't even know that I have enough hose because we had to do 2 of our house hoses and 2 of Jerry's work hoses to reach the blueberries. Let's see here, I got 1, 2, no, it looks like I got 3 hoses, so he must have left the hoses when he went to work today. I may be able to pull this off. Ooh, no, he goes around the hazelnuts, that's what he did, dang it! It's my first time doing this by myself, can you tell? Plus, hey, you know, the added distraction of having the camera. Okay, so While we drag the hose down to the blueberries, let me show you our new field. Ta-da! We'll put out a separate video talking about the steps we took to put in this new field. This was all grass when we moved in here in June, and we have been working on it. But I don't want to give away too many secrets. Oh no. Alright. Here we go. Making it work. Trying not to slip in the mud. But yes, isn't it a big, beautiful field? We dug all the rows out this past weekend, and it looks gorgeous. It's pretty much ready to plant. We want to fire weed it one more time, but it's looking light years better than it was before. Okay, let's see here. Woo! Lord, I need to get in shape. This dragging hoses around tires me out. Okay. So, get this guy going here. Alright, so yes, end of the driveway, space where animals will probably go, and then this is the beginning of our new driveway. Whew, we have found that more often than not, we spend a lot of time driving up to the shop, you know, whether it's to get the boat hooked up or the trailer hooked up or unload Jerry's truck or load Jerry's truck. We end up spending a lot of time driving over there, so we figured we might as well make an intentional driveway for it. So we're gonna cut the driveway through. It'll follow the line of the blueberries, head towards the compost bin, tuck around the shop, and then kind of poke out where Jerry currently parks his truck. So we'll have to figure something else out for that. But it'll be a nice little roundabout. It'll let us get close to the greenhouse when hopefully someday we have to, like, I don't know, load a trailer up full of starts to go to farmer's market. Allow us to get close to everything. So yeah, we're kind of starting to carve out the landscape for what we want that driveway to look like, which is, again, was terrifying, but I think I'm coping okay. So I'm almost done watering here, and I realized that I forgot to even mention the things that we took into consideration when planting the fruit and nut trees. So first and foremost was our view. Though we don't want to have, don't necessarily need a fully unobstructed view of the lake and the valley on every point of our property. We kind of do want there to be nooks and crannies and good spots with good views and places to hide, and, you know, I want it to have some character and some depth and a nice wander to it. So we did want to make sure that we didn't put any big trees that would be too obstructing to the view. So we kind of kept them towards the edge, except for the short blueberries here. And then the hazelnuts won't really block much of anything. We also took sun into consideration. We do have a fairly open, fairly sunny property. So there wasn't too much to worry about, but we are, you know, going to be cutting down a few trees in order to make sure that they get the amount of sun that they need. Watering. Watering was the other big thing. Did you know that new fruit and nut trees need to be watered every other day for like the first month that they're in the ground? That's a lot of watering. And as you saw with me fuddling with the hose, we didn't necessarily want to put them around the edge of the property. But there's a catch-22 with that, because we are going to have trees at the edge of the property, because this is our first round of trees, and then in April we have 12 more trees coming from the 𝙈𝙊𝙇 Foundation. We've got 5 dogwoods, 5 redbuds, and 2 crepe myrtles that we are going to use to line the edge of the property. So we are going to have to figure out, I don't know what we're going to do. That's only a month from now, and we're going to have to water them just as frequently, and we're going to probably need twice as much hose because they're on the opposite corner of the property. They're like over there. So it's going to be bad. But anyway, we tried to keep as many as we could as close to the house so we could keep an eye on them. Plus, we don't have deer problems yet, but I have a feeling we are going to have deer problems because people across the highway have deer problems. It's literally like, that's like national forest. It's like highway, hillside, and then it's just like, it's a Pulp and Talbot land, and then it's just wilderness. So there are deer around. And people across the highway have 6-foot-tall fences around their gardens to protect from deer. Our neighbor says that they have occasionally seen deer eating the blackberries in past years, but it's pretty infrequent. And so we didn't want to necessarily put a ton of fruit super far from the house where we couldn't really keep an eye on it. The blueberries, I guess, are going to be a problem. We're going to have to figure something out. So we're going to put in a fence. I don't think it's going to be a 6-foot tall fence. It'll be more to keep chickens and the dog in than deer out. But we'll see what we can do and how big of a problem it becomes. Hopefully, maybe the highway is a huge deterrent for them. I find that unlikely, but we'll see how bad it gets. People that lived here before us didn't have any deer problems, but they also barely grew anything. We are going to be growing a lot of a really enticing food. So, we'll see. Let's see, was there anything else that we took into consideration? Watering, light. You know, we made sure to plant them. We got sand and rock to plant in with the dirt because fruit trees like loamy soil. So we made sure for every hole that we dug, because it's interesting, the dirt does change as you move around the property. It's definitely sandier in areas and clayier in other areas. But we did make sure to mix in sand and rocks to every hole that we dug to make sure that they get good drainage. Made sure to plant them quickly because they will die if you don't get them in the ground pretty quickly. You know, ours was a week and I think they're doing okay. They don't look dead. I hope. I mean, they're sticks. It's a little hard to tell at this point. Let's see, what else? I think that's about it. I don't know. Jerry's not here to ask, so he's the one with the green thumb. I just tell y'all about it. Yeah. So I think that's it. I've got like, I don't know, 3 more blueberries to water in, but I think that's about everything regarding the fruit trees and the nut trees and everything we took into consideration and the drama of them arriving late. Yeah. So thanks so much for stopping by, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe below. Find us on social media and have a great day.